So the senior Rotax A final, the juniors put on a show. I can't wait to see what the seniors have in store. On pole position, the number 45 of Lucas Ellingham. He was kept honest for pretty much the entire race last time we saw them, though, by the 31 of Sam Baker, who starts alongside him. Row 2 is the 33 of Leo Brown and the 42 of Ben Hearsey. Row 3, 67 Louis Weaver and the 22 of Oliver Kerr. Row 4 is the WM plate of Jamie Rogers, quick all weekend. Look forward to seeing him through the order. 173 of Ollie Goodyear. Row 5 is the 67 of Spencer Brown, 71 of George Donald. Row 6 is the 89 of Lewis Wild and the 25 of George Hunter. Row 7 is the 14 of Jack Cooper and the 125 of Paul Simard. Row 8 is the 49 of Bobby Rosier and the 37 of Benjamin Ballou. Row 9, the 55 of Ethan Martin and the 68 of Philip Rawson. Row 10, the 27 of James Tester with 12 of Jack Collins. Row 11 is the 70 of Romarian Ubi with 13 Zaki Hussein. Row 12 is the 84 of Chris Banderi and the 61 of Jack Spencer. Row 13, the 43 of Stefan Kashmarek with the 15 of Sam Light. Row 14, 54 is Blake Noble and the 98 of James Thompson. Row 15 being 93 Oliver Duffel and 35 of Adriel Ngua. I do apologise to the last place driver there. We did get told how to pronounce the name. It's on a sheet of paper, or it's on a text that has disappeared for a second.
Yes, indeed. Now, I'm also going to look for, this is what I'm looking for, the 4 drivers which got up into the A final. Of course, at the back of this grid is going to be Nathan Schaefer on 31st place, then Kasper Biecki on 32nd, Ollie Ward on 33rd, and David Marsal on 34th position for this one. Of course, final race of the day, this one. Buckle your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. If that last one, the Junior Rotax A final, is anything to go by, this is going to be absolutely mega. I cannot wait.
Yeah, just to correct my pronunciation, it's Adriel Ngwa. Sorry, I should butcher it again. Ngwa is the way it's supposed to be said. Sorry, it wasn't even spelled out phonetically.
Sorry, everyone.
Right, yes, it's the final race of the day. It's Lucas Ellingham. It's against Sam Baker, Leo Brown, Ben Hearsey. I mean, there's so many superstars.
We saw a great battle between those two early, didn't we?
We did. So many superstars on this grid, but it's Lucas Ellingham who'll start this race. 12 minutes on the clock, and it starts timing down now. It's a good start by Ellingham as well. Everybody tries to get through Oblivion nice and cleanly, which I think they just about do, but heading up to Christmas corner, the fight for 5th place with the WM plate to Jamie Rogers from 7th up to 5th. Comes away with that one. Really good start by him. We said that I was looking forward to seeing how he carves through the order. He's got pace the top 3, trust me. He just needs to get there.
Spin! Spin for the 61 there.
There was a spin.
That was Jack Spencer having a little spin down at Ashby. Not the ideal start to the final for him, but yes, like you were saying, like Jamie Rogers, he had a great start, diving into the apex at Oblivion to steal a position, then diving into the outside at Christmas corner to take another one.
He's everywhere, isn't he? He's all over the place.
He's omnipresent.
Exactly, and he's got a personality as well behind him.
He's great. He's a good lad.
He doesn't mind the camera, apparently, as we found out the WM was doing an interview with him.
Well, as we found out this morning, where he was the one that was making loads of noise as we were walking into the paddock.
Yeah, that's true. The paddock hill, if you can hear some screaming as we walk onto the paddock.
The 89, is that Lewis Wild, I want to say?
The 89.
Who's off?
Yeah, it's Lewis Wild.
It is Lewis Wild.
Pushing himself back on.
He is very quick, so sad to see him off on the first lap.
Yeah, it is a bit of a shame. But Sam Baker, as I said, keeping Lucas Ellingham honest, and I don't think there's much love lost here. We said that we thought there was a hand gesture in the earlier race, which I don't think they got checked.
I feel like it was light-hearted.
I think it was light-hearted.
Yeah.
But I like to say there's a little bit of friction for the ladies.
I need to go back and check, because I only saw it quickly, and I was like, is that the hand gesture I thought I saw?
But equally, they did put on a good show, didn't they?
They're
very quick. They're very clean races as well. So if we see any kind of moves from Sam Baker, they're going to be spectacular, I'm sure. This is Louis Weaver with the fastest lap at the moment, but well, to be fair, there's only been one flying lap, hasn't there? But just hunkered up behind Jamie Rogers.
Indeed, yeah. These two are teammates, of course, from JDR. So are they going to work together? It is the final. Try and push on ahead, or is Sam Baker just going to go, nah, mate, I'm just going to send it. Right,
well, I think if you were in charge of JDR, you'd probably be sat there tearing your hair out thinking, please, for the love of God, just work together. But in actual fact, if I was in the car, I'd just be like, fine, you can try and stay with me, and that might pull us along naturally, but I'm going to stay ahead of you, or I'm going to get ahead of you, sort of thing.
Louis Weaver went even faster there. He's the one nearer the back of this train. Well, the one at the back is actually Jamie Rogers now. However, fastest man on circuit, Benjamin Ballou in 13th, 44.74 for him on that last lap. Interestingly, actually 3 different drivers set the 3 fastest different sectors. It was Leo Brown, Louis Weaver and Benjamin Ballou. So across this field, so much pace.
Yeah, it's very even. It's like the juniors, isn't it? Where you say, you know, they've got 6, 8, 10 superstars that you could all think, oh, they're at the front of this order. I wouldn't be surprised. One driver who I would be, the only sort of 2 drivers I'd be surprised if they weren't in the top 5 would be Lucas Ellingham and Sam Baker. Because the way they've been driving this weekend has been pretty outstanding. We do hope that they're here for the entire championship so we can see them more often. As we said, we've had a big spike in the grids for the first 2 rounds. That quite often happens. And then people sort of use it as almost pre-season, don't they? Because the WMKC is one of the earliest starting championships.
It is, yeah, really early starts. It means we get some interesting weather like we saw today, which is always good fun for us anyway in the commentary box. So it gives the drivers lots of different opportunities to test out different setups and
could have been June, to be fair. Though.
Yeah, fair point.
Weather.
It could happen any time in the year in the UK. Now, we're still looking at this top battle, still being led by Lucas Ellingham, of course. Oh, a little bit of a wide moment there for the 33 of Leo Brown. As you can see, it kicks up the water. There's still a lot of standing water in those rivets on the outer curb on the exit of the final corner. Now, still the top 6 in this battle. The secondary battle being led by the number 65 of Spencer Brougham, of course. Was right up there in juniors last year, makes the step up into seniors this year, and doing a very good job so far. But I had a great chat with him in the paddock show. Once again, you can skip back to the lunchtime to watch that, but obviously only after this race is over.
Well, yeah, they only have to wait another 8.5 minutes or
Not
so,
long.
don't they?
Not long.
Before you can start skipping back and relive all the beautiful action from the Whilton Park. As we said before, we haven't plugged this since we've hit that 30,000 mark, but if you want to subscribe and you've enjoyed it, and you've enjoyed the last couple of races here, then by all means, hit that subscribe button, and we'll appear on your YouTube home feed the next time we're live, which is quite often, to be honest, aren't we? Because Alpha Live, we're always out and about doing things in the motorsport community.
Exactly, yeah. Louis Weaver looking interesting. Oh, that was a late move. We know he loves a late move. Does the WM-plated driver of Jamie Rogers, sends his way up into 5th place past Ben Hearsey. But Louis Weaver keeps going faster and faster and faster. A 44.19. He's so much faster than the drivers around him. Still in 4th place at the back of this train, but for how much longer?
I was going to say, he's only just caught up to the back of this train, though. That's the thing, hasn't it? So I think those lap times, the difference is starting to come down a little bit as he joins the fight, but he's fully deserved in joining this fight. And I think, to be honest, it's probably given a little bit of a headache to the likes of Leo Brown and Sam Baker and Lucas Ellingham, who thought they were all going to have this their own way.
Indeed, yeah. It was looking like a relatively standard 3-way battle, but Louis Weaver is trying to ruin the days of Lucas Ellingham, Sam Baker and Leo Brown, isn't he, at the front of this one? Still 6.5 minutes to go on the clock, all still biding their time here, and they've just opened a bit of a gap, haven't they, back to Jamie Rogers and Ben Hearsey, and then another little gap back to Spencer Brougham and basically the rest of the field.
It's quite nice to see, though, that this sort of his battling is, it almost feels calculated. It feels like it's ready to boil over rather than maybe in the juniors where it felt like it was just, everything was exploding constantly. There's a bit of a tactical battle going on here in the seniors. Maybe the race experience comes to play a little bit more, and everybody's sort of waiting for those final couple of laps before they actually start throwing the kitchen sink at each other, whereas the juniors, I think they were under the impression that they cut 4 minutes from the final, let alone added 4 minutes. It looked like they were all in all of the time, whereas the seniors here, even when they get up close to each other, are a bit more calm and composed about the whole situation.
Yes, just biding their time, aren't they? Waiting for that perfect move. That means that then if it goes wrong, they don't get re-overtaken as they continue to follow each other line astern into the boot section, and still being led by Lucas Ellingham.
Yeah, well, we have just been reminding ourselves that we do have the driver of the round to be picking as well, and I think a few drivers on this grid, I'd say, are certainly in with a shout. There's a few of the drivers that we mentioned over the course of the day. There's a move sent up the inside there. The 33 of Leo Brown goes into 2nd place, and I don't think lost too much time to Lucas Ellingham either. So Sam Baker is having to settle for 3rd. I wouldn't reply too quickly, otherwise you risk potentially losing out on that race win eventually.
Indeed, yeah. Is it all just starting to bubble up?
Ooh.
The pan starting to
know.
bubble here.
You never know.
4 minutes and 40 left to go. And yeah, indeed, as you say, change to 2nd place. Sam Baker's been looking very quick, but Leo Brown snatches that away, and Louis Weaver right on his rear end now, as he's now looking to get involved in this top 3 battle. And still has the fastest lap of the race, does Louis. Benjamin Ballou, we said he was faster earlier. He was down in the teens, if not sort of 11th or 12th. Now finds himself up in 8th place, chasing down. He's at the front of basically the next pack. He is chasing down Spencer Bram in 7th, a couple of seconds off him. Spencer and Ben Hersey are now having a good battle. Ben Hersey was overtaken by Jamie Rogers a couple of laps ago. Clearly just not quite having the pace that he had earlier on in the heats is Ben, trying to hold on to P6 from Spencer Bram.
We've got plenty of love for Jamie Rogers in the YouTube chat. Lots of people giving their support for Ollie Goodyear as well as a few others. So, yeah, thank you very much for everybody who's dropped in and shown their support in the YouTube chat along the day. Not just this race, but over the course of the entire day as well. It's been a pleasure being your host for the entire weekend. Or the whole day, yeah, exactly. So.
Oh, late move down the inside. Is he able to do it? They're still side by side on the exit. No! Louis Weaver's pace has looked fantastic, but look at that. One attempt to the move and knocks them both off of the lead battle. This is going to give an opportunity here for Leo Brown to start piling the pressure on to Lucas Ellingham here. Has a little bit of a gap behind him now, where if he can go for a move, and it cannot really work like that happened there, and still not lose the position, but he's going to be sitting back. We know how good Lucas Ellingham is. Leo Brown has to set up a move that is absolutely perfect here for it to work.
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly surprising to see Lucas Ellingham under such pressure, isn't it? I
yeah.
mean, last year in the X30s, we didn't really see that as much. The only time where he really sort of didn't just come out with a stonking race victory is when he made a mistake himself, or when he had to start from the back of the grid or something like that. And even then, we were half expecting him to be at the front halfway through the race. So he's being kept honest here by the likes of Leo Brown, and I'm looking forward over the next 3 minutes or so what he's got in the locker.
Indeed, Spencer Bram overtook Ben Hersey on that last lap, already building a nice gap. Only a second off of Jamie Rogers now. He's having a flyer with Spencer Bram from 9th on the grid. Hopefully, well, at least for himself, going to try and get up into the top 5 past the WM-plated cart. But they've got a little bit of a gap forward to the likes of Louis Weaver and Sam Baker now. So I think 5th, likely the highest opportunity that they're going to get. Although I say that, you never know what could happen between the drivers ahead. Someone could go for a crazy move, they make contact, and suddenly you're gifted a top 3.
Well, that's exactly that. And to be honest, Lucas Ellingham, I think, is looking a little bit like he's feeling the pressure somewhat. He's leaning forward in his cart. He's trying to get that slipstream, trying to get the weight off the rear axle, give him that extra bit of horsepower. I'm not entirely sure whether it's a mental thing more than an actual gives you any kind of advantage, but it's showing the intent. It's showing that I think he's feeling the pressure.
Yeah, unusual to see from Lucas Ellingham. Yeah, just as you say, activating that human DRS down the straight, trying to get as much out of the car as possible. And as we say, doesn't do a huge amount, maybe half a tenth, not even that, but more of a mental thing, I think, just showing, as you say, the intent to move forward and hold on to this lead. And to be fair, he's keeping a nice little buffer, isn't he? Just enough to mean that Leo Brown can't go for a crazy send. Leo Brown just has 1 minute and 20 seconds now to try and reel him in a little bit more. So I can assume after this lap, we'll have 2 more.
Yeah, he just blows up around the top end of the track there, doesn't he? But I feel like it's through the boot that Lucas Ellingham really pulls away. We'll have to wait and see whether I'm chatting absolute rubbish, because that's just what I feel like I've seen over the last couple of laps. If they get into the boot here, that gap has grown, as said, by about a cart length, whereas at the top near Christmas Corner, it had really closed up. Whereas, as you can see here, coming across the line, it'll probably be about 1/10 and a half of the gap.
Indeed. Now, an interesting one. No one is setting personal bests anymore. No. Literally no one out on circuit. So either that's just because it's getting a bit colder, or it's because it is still spitting ever so slightly, and they're not able to quite go as fast as they were. I mean, I'm talking tenths of a second slower, 3 or 4 tenths of a second slower, but hey, every little helps, and if you can eke back out that advantage once again, you could grab the lead of the race if you want to go for it here, trying it around the outside. Not quite able to do it, actually loses a bit of time there, does Leo Brown, maybe just trying to go for it at the earliest opportunity there, maybe a little bit too early. I saw in the background as well, Spencer Bram was heavily pressuring Jamie Rogers for 5th, and I'm pretty sure Sam Baker and Louis Weaver are having a good battle as well. So a couple of pairs now, and Sam Baker and Louis Weaver actually closing down in this battle. Are we going to get 2 more laps? Yes, we are. They cross the line with only 3 seconds to go, and that means an extra lap for Leo Brown to try and make an overtake, and an extra lap for Lucas Ellingham to try and hold on to this.
I was going to say, I think if Leo Brown could rewind time, he'd have probably taken that attempted move around the outside back, to be honest. It was a very, very difficult one. It wasn't the best opportunity that we've even seen him have over the past 3 or 4 minutes, and it meant that Lucas Ellingham has got that gap now as well, up to about 0.4 of a second, and Leo Brown had spent 3 or 4 laps whittling that down from half a second into an overtaking opportunity. Is he going to have the amount of time that left to be able to whittle that time down? I don't think so. We're about to start the final lap of the race, and Lucas Ellingham, he had a 4/10 gap. I think it's going to be about, he's still going to be over 3, and there we go, yeah, 3.5 tenths. Leo Brown, then Sam Baker, Louis Weaver with the fastest lap of the race, still to his name. As John said before, he's not, no one's able to set a personal best apart from Bobby Rosier, who did on the last lap, but that's the only driver out of 30-odd karts that is actually going any quicker.
No, exactly. Yeah, I do agree with your statement, though. Leo Brown maybe regretting that diving for the outside. Lucas Ellingham perfectly placed it, didn't need to force him out wider, and meant he lost a bit of time. But they're staying sort of as they are. None of the top 4 really close enough to go for a move here. Might try it. Oh, Sam Baker thought about it through the boot. It's not going to happen, though, and it is going to be Lucas Ellingham who takes the win here in the Senior Rotax A final. A brilliantly controlled win from Lucas Ellingham, and he was the championship leader going into today, and I think he extends that gap out front after that Senior Rotax A final win. It was Leo Brown and Sam Baker who round out the podium. Louis Weaver's pace was fantastic through that. Did get the fastest lap of the race, but sadly wasn't quite able to convert that into some silverware today. Jamie Rogers rounded out the top 5, followed by Spencer Brom, Benjamin Ballou, Ben Hearsey, George Hunter and Philip Rawson rounded out the top 10. Behind them were Oliver Kerr.